frankly tell me that has geometry helped you in any
No,
way?
not really. What were the biggest challenges that you faced?
Parents want them to only study.
What matters as a kid is not how many marks you get, but how happily you lead your life.
Yeah. So then I told them I'll go to the papers. Tomorrow you'll see the headlines. And I do have some contacts in the
Yeah.
newspapers and all that. The parents were thinking, what if he commits suicide?
So, hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the fourth episode of Caffeinated with Visualjox. Today we have with us a very unique yet a special guest, which I would like her to introduce herself. Mrs. Manjari, please go on.
Hello, everybody. I'm Manjari Naik. I'm a learning disability consultant and teacher. I've been doing this for the past 14 years. And frankly speaking, it's a very satisfying job. And it gives me great pleasure to be on this channel today.
So yeah, Miss Manjiri, how did you get started with teaching as a whole? Like not only teaching learning disability students, but how did you get into this career? How did you get started with teaching? What was your overall lookout when you got into this career path? Please share with us.
See, I wanted to do something where I could look after my children also and work. So, teaching gives you that facility. You have plenty of holidays. Plus, you can, the timings are very adjustable. Just like when I was teaching in coaching classes, I used to teach chemistry for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and IIT entrance.
Okay.
So while teaching chemistry also, I could adjust. Suppose my children had their exams, I could tell them, okay, 2 days I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Then you have to take more lectures on the third day.
Yeah.
So that is why I went into teaching and I used to enjoy it. But that was where I was teaching in coaching classes, very famous coaching classes. But after that, I decided to go into this field
Yeah.
when I met one of my doctor friends. He's an old friend, and he was in he was working in that LD clinic at Sion Hospital.
Okay.
Now, this learning disability clinic at that time was only at Sion Hospital.
Okay.
So he was there, he was the head there, and I met him once, and I got interested in this subject, that is learning disability.
Okay.
So I decided I should do something for these children.
Yeah.
That will be more satisfying than teaching, because everybody is ready to teach normal children,
Yeah.
but nobody takes classes for these children.
Yeah, it's a very challenging job, right? So
Yes.
basically, you wanted to give back to the society.
Yeah.
That's what I see. And as you said, you always wanted to give time for your children. So
Yeah.
does this mean that you were always inclined towards having a very soft-hearted approach towards kids in general, or how was it like? Like why did you choose learning disability, for example? Did you want to help these children, or
I wanted to help these children because, as I said, nobody takes classes for these children. It was only after the movie Taare Zameen Par that people, because the awareness spread and people thought they should take up teaching these children.
yeah?
But till then, there was nobody. And even when I had joined my son's school so that I can spread the awareness, and that is, and I can identify these children as well as tell the teachers how to handle these children.
Okay.
But there was a lot of opposition. There were
Oh.
parents who said, what do you think? My son is mad. Now, with learning disability doesn't mean that the child is mad,
Yeah.
because they have a very good IQ. They have only a writing problem. But the parents feel you're telling them something where, the child, you're saying the child is mad. And every mother thinks that my child is very intelligent,
Yeah.
but he's not ready to study. But why is he not ready to study? Try to find out the problem.
Exactly.
It was only after Taare Zameen Par that they said, okay, like,
They got aware
yeah,
of the fact that yeah,
now
something might
maybe
be
we'll
wrong.
get him tested.
Yeah.
So I was there in that school for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and I did identify quite a few children.
Okay.
And then that is how I went into this, and I started taking tuitions for these children.
Okay.
And I used to have plenty of children, like around 12 at a time, 6 in the morning batch, 6 in the evening, because it is very difficult to handle more than that.
Yeah, yeah. So would you just get us through this concept of what exactly is learning disability? Because as we all know, like we are not aware about it, when it comes to these topics, because ये यूजुअली सोसाइटी में ऑब्जर्व किया नहीं जाता है, लाइक
Hmm.
who is suffering this learning disabilities and what exactly is happening to this guy. People just label those students as ये तो
Yeah.
पागल लोग है या whatever,
Yeah, they're
something like
mentally
that.
retarded or
Yeah,
something like
yeah. So
that.
what exactly is learning disability, and how do you identify these learning the children who suffer with these learning disabilities?
See, learning disability has three branches:
Okay.
dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia.
Okay.
Dyslexia means that child has a problem in writing.
Okay.
Dyscalculia means the child has a problem in maths.
Okay.
And dysgraphia means he has a problem in reading. Most of the children with a learning disability have all these three problems.
Okay.
But there are some who don't have dyscalculia. So, the mother always thinks, okay, he's very intelligent in maths, so why not the other subjects?
Hmm.
And how do you identify? That was your question. See, when they are writing, now suppose in the first sentence they write and as A and D. Next line they'll write it as A and G. In the third line they'll write it as A and B. But when you ask the child to read what he has written, he'll read it as and.
All three as
Oh,
and.
yeah.
So just like
So
the.
he doesn't realize that he has made a mistake.
Okay.
He thinks he's right.
Because he's not able to comprehend which letter is what.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
So that's how you identify these people.
Yes. And they have a good IQ because the LD certificate which they get from these hospitals, there are only three hospitals in entire Maharashtra. That is Sion Hospital, Nair Hospital, and KM.
Okay.
Now, these three centers where they have, initially it was only one center, but after Taare Zameen par, there were so many people going for checking that they couldn't handle it. They've started with other two hospitals also. And when they handle these children, they have 9 assessments which they make right from the IQ test.
Okay.
But first thing is they do is the IQ test. The IQ should be at least 100. That means he is above average. If he is below average, he doesn't get a certificate.
Okay. Then what happens with these students whose IQ is below 100 but still
No,
their
then they
parents
can
feel.
be either slow learners or they
Okay.
can be autistic
Okay.
or some other problem.
Okay.
But it or below 98 and all that, it comes to mental retardation.
Okay.
So above 100, they have to be at least 100
So
to get
basically,
a,
there are tiers for learning disabilities. We can't say that autistic. So does that mean autism doesn't count under learning
no,
disability?
no.
Okay.
Autism is entirely a different thing. And our board also doesn't support autistic children much compared to learning disability. Learning disability children get a lot of support from our board, especially SSC board, even ICSE and CBSE. But SSC board gives them a lot of benefits.
Okay.
They can change their subjects, they can take easier subjects. Their papers go to a different examiner where the correction is lenient.
Okay.
So that helps them to score.
Yeah.
So see, they can take now. Initially, it was they could leave one language.
Mm-hmm.
English is compulsory, but they can leave either Hindi or Marathi. Change it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But now they can leave both the languages.
Okay.
So the only one language is compulsory. Then instead of when you in ninth and 10th, when you have algebra and geometry, instead of algebra, you can take 7th standard maths.
Okay.
Now I think that is very easy because
Hmm.
of course they
It's easy
find
to
it
comprehend
difficult.
for these
Yeah.
students. Yeah.
And instead of geometry, you have to take one of the easiest subjects. I'll tell you the subjects.
Okay.
Then after that, science. Again, it is science 1 and science 2.
Yeah.
So for science 1, you have physiology hygiene. And for science 2, you have home science.
Okay.
All these subjects have practicals, journal, everything. So they can score better.
Mm-hmm.
Then now suppose you have, there are subjects like when you leave Hindi, Marathi, or you leave geometry. So there are subjects like milk and milk products, or
Oh.
cookery,
Okay.
or drawing.
Yeah.
Originally there was computers also, but now that subject is not there. Then they have subjects like
But
bookbinding.
any specific reason that they eliminated the computer subject? Because as far as like from the things that I'm knowing right now from you, the portion, like I don't mean to sound inconsiderate, But it sounds like these subjects are actually more interesting than the algebra geometry thing when it comes to
Yeah.
cookery, when it comes to milk and milk products. So, was there a specific reason why the
No,
computer
because
subject
computers
was
there was a lot of theory,
okay?
which these kids found it difficult to handle,
Okay.
and it was like 50 marks as for a 75 marks paper, 50 mark because geometry is 75 marks.
Yeah.
So out of that 50 was for theory and
Okay.
25 for practicals. So
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't score much. So that is why they have eliminated computers. But there are other subjects, even drawing you have for practicals plus the work which is done at home
Mm-hmm.
plus any other thing, plus there is theory 20 marks.
Mm-hmm.
So all this adds up. Now one of my students in drawing, he got 96,
Okay.
so definitely his percentage goes high.
So Ishan
Then
Avasthi.
yeah, then in one of my most of my students, not most, you can say all my students, those who have taken milk and milk products, have always scored above 85 in
Okay.
that subject.
But does this, like, what exactly comes under this milk and milk product subjects? Could you please elaborate?
See, there are certain things like how do you keep the cow shed clean and
Okay.
things like that. What are the uses of milk? What can you make from milk? Then
Mm-hmm.
suppose now it's paneer. Then what are the uses of paneer? What are the nutrients in it? Now this becomes very easy for them to learn,
But
and they are asked very simple questions.
yeah.
That is answer in one single sentence. So they find it easier.
Yeah, but see, I get the point that it gets academically easy for them,
Hmm.
right? But does this help them in real lives? Because when we talk about traditional education, we are usually taught about the subjects like algebra, geometry, which subjects are completely omitted when it comes to these guys. So when you teach them about milk and milk products or cookery, like you said, does this help them in real life, or is it just to get
But
them
see, if you
progress
think,
academically?
frankly, tell me that has geometry helped you in any
No,
way?
not really, not really.
Okay. Or has Science 1 and Science 2 helped you in any way?
Maybe not me, but yeah,
Not
maybe the
much.
engineers and the doctors.
No, but not Science 1 and Science 2. The science in 11th and 12th might help
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
But
that's true.
Science 1 and Science 2 has got nothing to do with your engineering or
Mm-hmm.
doctors, nothing. It
Yeah,
doesn't help them,
yeah.
isn't it? So, what is the use of these subjects?
Hmm.
At the most, algebra might be good, but what is geometry? The theorems that you sit and learn,
Hmm.
they're quite difficult,
Yeah.
and you go on learning because you need the marks.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And then what happens? What are you doing with geometry when you go to 11th?
Yeah, there's absolutely no use.
Yeah.
And we are still wondering actually at 20 years of age that what is the use of sine theta and cos theta.
Yeah. So that is
That's
what
so
I'm
true.
saying. So the
Yeah.
same thing, milk and milk products, what are they going to do? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's
But
only
like,
to score marks.
okay. So basically it's just to push them
Hmm.
academically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, and they are motivated because they are getting good marks.
Hmm.
They get into a good college.
So it gives them a good
All the
mood. Like,
colleges,
yeah.
including engineering colleges, have 3% quota for LD students. And now there's a lot of competition because
Hmm.
now every third child feels he's a dyslexic. So,
Oh.
but one thing I'll tell you, all these three hospitals,
Hmm.
they never give a false certificate.
That's great. That's great because that's
Yes.
usually a huge challenge, right?
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point. Like when you got started with this, okay,
Hmm.
you started with your coaching career and then you identified certain students from your school, right,
Yeah.
which might have had learning disabilities.
Hmm.
So when you decided to transition into a teacher who's gonna teach learning disability students, what were the biggest challenges that you faced? Like what was the opposition that you might have faced? Like you said, there was a lot of opposition, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what were the challenges?
The challenges, first thing is when the parents come to meet you, first thing I tell them is you have to give me the LD certificate. Without that,
Okay.
I won't take them.
Okay.
Because I used to teach only LD students. Even now, I'm into consultation. I've stopped teaching, but I am into consultation. First thing they have to show me is the certificate. Because I have to see what are the problems. Everything is written in that certificate.
Hmm.
Whether they have dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, whatever it is.
Or all three.
Yeah. So I have to know that. Then that is and I have to see their IQ. So I take the certificate, a copy of their certificate, and then I talk to the parents. Now, when I talk to the parents, the first thing, the main challenge is, when they come to me, they think, okay, now my son is, okay, he's going to become an
अब तो हो गया
engineer.
सब sorted
हाँ,
है.
अभी सब sorted है.
हाँ.
He's going to be like there was one lady who said, see, he has dyscalculia. That means he has a problem in maths. And she's telling me, "You think my son will do CA, don't you?" And I was just looking at her, wondering like what should be my answer.
Exactly.
And she said, "No, but he wants to do CA." I said, "He can try, but do you think he's going to reach that level? He
Exactly.
still has a problem in additions and subtractions. How is he
Ex-
going to do CA?" So she said, "No, no, but I want my son to do CA." I said, "Okay, we'll think about that later on.
Hmm.
First, let's cross the first bridge, that is 10 standard.
Yeah.
And then think of it. See, 10 standard, he's going to do 7 standard maths and he's going to become a CA."
That doesn't add up.
Yeah. And when they come to you, like immediately in the first, see now the most of the students till 8th standard, they have got around 35 to 45%.
Yeah.
Okay. And they come to me and after the first unit test, they'll say, "Ma'am, just look at his marks. It's only 60%. I thought coming here he'll get 80."
So
I
the
said, "Huh?"
expectations are
Yeah.
always high.
I said,
So
"How can he get 80?
yeah.
I've been teaching him for only 1.5 months."
Yeah.
यू नो बट 10th स्टैंडर्ड आप गारंटी दे रहे हो क्या कि उसको 80 मिलेगा? ऐसे नो,
Huh.
up to 70% because all my students have got above 70 in
That's great
10th.
actually.
Yeah. So I said 70 का मैं गारंटी देती हूँ. And
Hmm.
somewhere there should be cooperation from the parents,
Exactly.
from the child. The
Yeah.
child should study. I can't do everything.
Yeah. So what is the usual reaction of these parents when you tell them that okay, these are the challenges that we might face now that your student has learning disabilities. Now these are the challenges that we might face, and these are the realistic goals that we should put forward. And then what is the parents' reaction when it comes to that? Because like you said, every parent expects their son or their daughter to get 90 plus percentage.
Yeah.
So how do they actually react? That do they expect you to make some sort do some sort of magic and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
them to 90 plus?
Yeah.
So does this bombard the children in any way?
Yes.
कि नहीं मेरा मम्मी पापा का ऐसा ऐसा एक्सपेक्टेशन है बट माय टीचर
And
इज
I
नॉट
tell
हेल्पिंग
them,
मी.
first thing is you need patience. You need to understand your child. That child has an inferiority complex going anywhere because he thinks he has a learning disability, means almost mental retardation. That is what he feels at that age.
Yeah,
So he doesn't like to attend functions.
because the society has
Yeah.
made him believe so.
So that is why he doesn't like to go anywhere. He doesn't mix with other children. When they come here, they used to mix with each other because all were LD students. So they didn't have a problem. But when they go elsewhere, they always feel that what are these people thinking? Like, do they think? So, first thing I tell them is don't tell anybody that your child has LD.
Okay.
They won't come to know. How will they know? Because see, they have a normal IQ. They're absolutely normal children.
They can talk walk
Yeah.
the same language.
Yeah, so what is the problem? So don't tell them.
Yeah.
Second thing is the mother has to show patience. And third thing is the mother should never compare them with other children. That is very common. The neighbor's son got 90%, so you should get 92 at least.
Yeah, and that just isn't limited to the learning disability
No,
students,
that is
right?
for everybody.
Yeah, because we observe in the society, like even my mom, like luckily she never compared me with anyone, but she always knew that my elder brother, he always scored 90-95 percentage in his academics. Now she always expected me to match his levels, but later on she got to know कि नहीं यार इसमें वो capabilities नहीं है, he might be good at something else.
Yeah.
So this is what the parents have to recognize, right? And it's not any different when it comes to the learning disability students as well.
Yeah, it's
like
not.
they might have some different
So,
abilities and they might
sometimes I
excel
used to
somewhere
feel,
else.
I have to take classes for the parents first and educate them
Yeah.
and then for the students.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like they'll come and tell you this. There were so many challenges that I faced. There was one boy who came to me. He came to me when he was in 10th,
Okay.
just at the beginning of his 10th. In 9th, he was detected with learning disability. Now, after that, he had got into wrong company. He was into smoking, drinking, and his mother was saying that she had heard he's taking drugs.
Okay.
So she told me he'll not come for the classes. So what can we do? So first thing she said was, I won't pay your fees because I know he's not going to come.
Then why are you coming to me?
So I was wondering, like, why is she bringing him here? I said, first thing is, before you start, you have to pay 25% of the fees. Without that, I won't start.
Yeah.
And 8 days, you have to bring him and you have to take him home.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
your
it's
responsibility,
your responsibility.
as much as it is mine.
Yeah. And after that, I give you full guarantee that he'll get above 70 and he'll come every day on his own. But the first 8 days, and the same thing happened. But those 8 days, she was literally chewing my brains. ये वो करेगा क्या, क्या होगा
But she
आगे
did
चल के.
listen to you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
So, especially, he had a very sensible sister, this boy. So, she used to come on her Activa, pick him up, leave, drop him. She used to sit downstairs for 1 hour
Okay.
so that he doesn't go with other friends and all that. She used to take him home. But it was always like, see, your sister is an engineer and what are you doing? But he got above 70, he did well, and he got into a well-known bank. He's
Okay.
doing well.
That's great.
But those first 8 days were very challenging because
Yeah.
suppose like I had very confidently told her,
कि 70
he'll
plus आ
come,
जाएगा.
yeah. And he'll come every day, but he should come, no?
Yeah.
So, but he started coming on his own. He never missed a class. Even 11th and 12th, he was with me.
So he got out of all of that bad habits. Like,
yeah, everything.
okay. But now going back to the same student, you said that he was in 9th when he was detected with learning
Yeah.
disability. Then how did he get from first to the 9th standard when he
Because
always
SSC board, that's a rule. They have to pass till they go to the 9th.
right.
You cannot fail the students.
Okay, so
So it's fine.
and till that point their parents never realized it that he might have some
No,
kind of
it's
disability.
always, see, my son is very intelligent. But it's because he's lazy, he's not studying. They don't
That's a
understand that he
classic
has a problem. That is why he's doing it. He's avoiding studies because he cannot manage
cannot
it.
study, yeah.
Why don't you try to understand? That is what I used to tell them.
Yeah.
That he cannot manage it. That is why he's avoiding studies.
So
It's
basically he
not,
can't comprehend the basics of studying.
yeah.
That's why he's not studying. It's
Yeah,
not like
and the
that
other
he's
students
lazy.
in the class are very fast. They can pick up faster. He cannot do that. He's very slow in writing. Then he used to avoid it. Okay, मैं करूँगा ही नहीं. Why should I do it?
And
As
the
it is, I'm getting less marks. Okay, fine.
हाँ वैसे भी घर वालों को आदत है कि मुझे कम
हाँ.
मार्क्स आएंगे तो.
And till 8th standard, you're not going to fail.
Yeah.
So what is the problem?
Yeah. So do you think this rule is actually logical? The SSC
No,
board
no,
that
That
to
is
pass
not
students
right.
till 8th?
No. Because this is what happens. They take it for granted.
Yeah.
That why should I study? Anyway, I'm going to go to 9th. 9th में देखेंगे ना? When you go to 9th, उसके बाद पढ़ाई करेंगे.
And suddenly just everything comes in
Yeah.
front of you like
And how
this
do you
is
do
what
it?
was happening all this time. So when these students actually pass out of school and when these guys go to college, what are the challenges that these students might face? How is the portion that is being taught in college? Do they have a separate syllabus or how is it like?
No. In colleges, there's no different syllabus.
Okay.
Now, see, when you take up commerce, only instead of, I think you have maths. Instead of that, you can take SP. Otherwise, the subjects are the same. The only benefits in college that they get are they get extra time
Okay.
for every paper.
Okay.
And that helps them a lot. Because in a subject like BK, if they get 1 hour extra, definitely it helps.
It's gonna help, yeah.
Now, even in that, even for 10th, they have 45 minutes extra for each paper. But it is no use telling these students also. I used to tell all of them that, see, even if you don't need, nahi miss, mera paper to jaldi ho jata hai. I said, but you sit there. You know why? Because when they collect, see, the examiner doesn't know.
Yeah.
When he collects the papers, then that paper goes with the other children and it won't be corrected leniently.
Yeah.
And these people have different examiners. So I used to tell them, sit for at least 10 minutes. After that, give the paper.
Okay.
Even if you've finished earlier, sit.
Don't leave with the
Yeah.
others.
There was one child who used to sleep. He said 45 minutes hai. Instead
So
of
he lay
going,
down,
instead of going home, 45 minutes I'll join the benches and sleep. Nobody else in the class, na?
Yeah.
Only this boy and the examiner, that the examiner used to tell him, give your paper. No, Miss has said not to give the paper. So I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, but it helps them, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you can do from your side in order to uplift these people, you
Yeah.
are gonna do it. So what was your best experience when it comes to these kind of students? Like how many years did you get in? Years did you do this? The teaching thing, not the consultation thing. How many years did you teach these learning disabled students?
I was teaching right up to COVID, even during COVID. I started in 2008.
Okay.
From then onwards till COVID.
So for 12 years.
Yeah.
And in these 12 years, what was your best experience? Like you can say confidently, this was the best student that I ever coached.
Yes,
or this
I had one student who's very intelligent. He used to come from Mulund
Okay.
and he didn't have dyscalculia. but he had dyslexia, he had a big problem, but he was so hardworking and he managed to crack JEE and get into IIT.
That's
So he
amazing.
was that intelligent
Hmm.
and he really studied hard. And his mother took a lot of efforts. She used to come from Mulund.
Hmm.
She used to sit here in the garden for 1 hour and then take him home.
Okay.
She used to do that every day.
But was there any experience where, the kids weren't really great at studying, but they were amazing at some extracurricular activities like Isha Navasti from Taare Zameen Par? Was some like did you face any such experiences?
Yeah, see, they are very good in other activities, in sports, in drawing.
Hmm.
But the thing is, our SSC board doesn't encourage all this.
Yeah.
What is main is studies.
Hmm.
So,
So.
first thing is you have to complete 10th.
Hmm.
And even parents don't encourage all this. Parents want them to only study.
Yeah.
Because every child has to be either a doctor or an engineer.
Yeah. That's the worst
Yeah.
thing
So
that's been
it's not
happening.
possible. They can't do anything. They can't play.
Hmm.
They have to study.
But isn't this like when you chose this career, didn't you take up this responsibility of making the kids' parents more aware than the kids themselves? That, okay, for example, there's a parent who, let's consider Ishan Awasthi's parents. Like, wasn't this your responsibility that to tell these parents, ki, okay, your kid is suffering from this is what he's good at, this is what he's not good at. Okay, I'll help him improve this at dyscalculia or dysgraphia, but what I am noticing is that he's good at this specific activity, for example painting. So I would suggest you to encourage your kid to pursue a career in that.
Yeah, but see, I take this consultation even before starting the tuitions.
Okay.
But the parents will say, no, 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 I can understand he is good in drawing, but वो बात अलग है वो 10th
वो
के
just
बाद देख
hobby
के
है,
हाँ
हाँ.
10th के बाद अभी नहीं
Okay.
first he should get above 80 and then we can think of all this.
So this is just the generational problem.
Yeah.
Means it's nothing different with these learning disabled people, right?
Yeah,
The parents are still the same. They still have the same thinking.
same
So what
thinking.
is the one thing that you would like to change or you would like to add or remove from the traditional education system so that these people are uplifted when it comes to their career choices and how they have to deal with certain things? Because the people who are not they don't have learning disability, it's pretty easy for them. Might not say the easiest path, but it's pretty easy, right, to pass out from colleges, from schools. But when it comes to these students, what is the one thing from the traditional education system that you would like to add or change so that these people are uplifted and these people are seen in a much better way?
No, no. See, this they have already done by giving them 3% quota in all the colleges.
Okay.
So even if they want to go for architecture, they have a quota. So that is when they can show their talent there. But the only thing that you can change is, that the professors or the teachers in school, they should not mention anything about it. Because very often it happens, that the teacher in class, when she doesn't like that child, she'll say, अरे ये बच्चे को तो LD है ना. And then the whole class makes fun of him.
And this impacts the kid.
Yes. It happened with one of my students.
Okay.
And then I had to go to that college and fight
What
with them.
exactly happened? Could you just share that story?
He didn't go for 2-3 days.
Okay.
Now, see, with mobiles and all that, they are sending messages to each other. And he was at home because he had fever. And he sent a message to his friend who was sitting there in class. And the teacher saw that message. And she got angry that he's not letting him study. So the next day when he entered the class, she said, अरे ये तो LD बच्चा है फिर भी दूसरे को भी वैसे ही बना रहा है उसको पढ़ने नहीं दे रहा है. And he found it very insulting. Now suppose this boy had committed suicide, what can we do?
Yeah.
Isn't it? So it is the teacher's fault.
Exactly.
So that is one thing that they have to make sure that it is not mentioned anywhere.
So he was your student.
Yeah.
So what did you do about it?
Then I went to that college. I had an argument with that lady and she said, no, but he is a dyslexic and he has not attended. Are he has not attended. He is not the only child who has viral fever or anything like that. Genuinely, he was not well. I went with the parents to meet her. She argued with me. I went to the principal. I went to the committee. And I said, either she says sorry to that child or you suspend her. She cannot do this. I'll take action. I'll go to the newspapers,
Yeah.
and that will ruin your admissions next year.
Exactly. So the whole school
Yeah.
reputation will go down.
So that will go down. If you're ready for that, okay, fine. Then
Mm.
even in the board, they make mistakes. In the board, one of my students, when the results for the 12th standard came, he got it written there, results withheld. And he was shocked because he had given all the papers and he didn't copy. He was a very sincere boy. Now, result withheld, what does that mean? That means he was copying, so his results are not given. Now, all the students and all that started saying, Arey, तूने copy किया था क्या? तेरा result क्यों नहीं आया? And then I went with his parents to the board. And at the board, they said, no, no, he had taken up drawing. Drawing is not allowed. Why didn't you tell him 2 years back when he was in 11th? That drawing is, he was a science student.
Okay.
For science students, drawing is not allowed.
Okay.
See, you have two languages in college. So he had left the second language and taken up drawing. Now they said drawing is not allowed. Why did you give him drawing?
Exactly.
You gave the form, you gave the hall ticket, and
Yeah.
now you're saying it is not allowed.
Then
So, and
it's
very coolly, that lady is telling me, first of all, they're very rude at the board.
yeah.
But still, I argued with them. We went to the dean there, and finally, she's telling me, okay, no problem. Let him give in October again. I said, what do you mean? Why should he miss 6 months?
Yeah.
It is your fault. So then I told them I'll go to the papers.
Hmm.
Tomorrow you'll see the headlines in the Mumbai Mirror. First thing you'll see is that what happened at the board. And this is how you're troubling LD children. If you want that, and I do have some contacts in the
Yeah.
newspapers and all that. So I told her,
Good
you'll
that
see
you
it.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
So that we'll stay cautious.
So I said, I'll go there and that is what we'll do.
Hmm.
Then immediately she said, no, 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 give me some time. In 8 days, and he had got something like 73%.
It's great.
Yeah.
Even I
So,
didn't have
but
73%.
8 days, the parents were in shock. The child was in shock. Now, okay, the child was pretty strong. He didn't do anything wrong. But the parents were thinking, what if he commits suicide?
Yeah.
Because
scared.
we read about it.
Yeah.
So
happens
they were
everywhere.
scared about it. Now, what to do? That is when, you have to fight with the system.
Yeah. And it's great, like you mentioned, you had to fight with the system because you genuinely believed in helping these students, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a genuinely noble cause. Not a lot of people are doing it. Like even the students like us who don't have any disabilities, we still face with such situations that we feel like there was a lot of going on. I don't know, like 6-7 years back, कि suicide epidemic बहुत हो रहा था.
हाँ,
Like
बहुत.
people were literally committing suicide just because they were being abused and bullied in colleges, and not just by their peers or their batchmates, also by the teachers.
By
Like
the
you said,
teachers.
the teachers are insulting them on a regular basis. They are abusing them.
Yeah.
ये LD वाला आया, like you said. So it definitely takes a lot of toll on these students, thinking
Yes.
there might be something actually wrong with me, and there was this epidemic, right? So I genuinely respect you for that. Like you're an activist who actually takes active part in helping such people. But what was during your journey, what was the most challenging part when it comes to the student? Like who was the most challenging student
No,
to
first
help
thing I'll
this
tell you,
with?
the most challenging thing for me,
Yeah.
not the students, was, see, when I studied how to teach these students, I was told when they're younger, that is fifth, sixth, seventh, that is when you have to write all the answers. Now, first of all, LD students don't like to read printed material.
Okay.
So all my 12 students has to write all the answers for them in their book. Now that is a difficult thing because I had to get up at 4:30 and start writing because you have to write in 12 notebooks because they don't read printed material.
Okay.
But initially when I was teaching small children, that is from 5th onwards, for them you have to write each answer in different colors.
Okay.
So that when he reads the paper, then he realizes, okay, that was the green colored answer, and he writes it.
Okay.
So I used to write it in very neat handwriting, make it colorful, make it nice. But then later on I realized still they're not scoring as much as they should.
Okay.
And all their answers should be in the point form. So why is it that they couldn't do it? Then this doctor, as I told you, who started LD in Maharashtra, when I spoke to him, he told me, you cannot write in such neat handwriting. You have to scribble. They have to be like if they have to be close to the teacher,
Hmm.
you have to write the way they write. They have a terrible handwriting, terrible.
Hmm.
So you have to have a terrible handwriting. It
Okay.
took me almost a year to change my handwriting, and now after so many years, I can't write in normal handwriting. I still scribble,
Okay.
and you have to scribble, then you have to rub it out, and then something like that.
Hmm. So
That is
basically,
how.
the whole presentation has to be shabby.
Very
But
shabby.
is there a specific reason that why don't they read printed material or neat
See,
handwritings?
when they read,
Yeah.
now suppose this is the first statement, they read the first two words of the three words of the first sentence.
Hmm.
They go to the next sentence and read it. They go to the third line and read it.
Okay.
Understand? So it doesn't make sense to them, isn't it?
Hmm.
Because they are reading three half sentences. So how will it make sense?
Hmm.
So that is why they don't like that printed material. In the shabby handwriting, they read each, and I used to write it in the point form. And for them, see, for SSC board, they prefer to have the whatever is given in the book, the same language should be written as the answers. You must be knowing that.
Hmm. Hmm.
They prefer that, and then you get full marks.
Hmm.
But for these people, you can write in an easier language as long as the answer means the same.
Yeah.
They get full marks.
Okay.
So I used to write it in a simple language in the point form and give it to them. And they used to learn that.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So that used to be easier for them. But I had to write it in all the books.
Okay.
I couldn't even give them Xerox material
Hmm.
because they never answer. Like you give them Xerox material and finish. That's the end of the answers.
Yeah.
And then they used to say, that why have you written it for him and not me?
Right. So there used to be this
Yeah,
comparison. Then I won't
comparison.
study
I won't study.
because it's not for me.
Yeah. So I had to sit and write for all of them.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
And it's quite like it's very tiring, you can say.
Definitely. Definitely.
This job was very stressful,
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
but I used to enjoy it, and I'm
Yeah.
still close to all my students.
Yeah.
Now they're
All of them remember
working.
you.
Yeah, the girls are, some of them are married, they're working, everything, but I'm still close to them.
Yeah.
Especially on Teachers' Day, you should see the first thing, you'll see all the messages, Happy Teachers' Day.
It's great. So it's a wholesome job, right?
Yeah.
Overall. So what was the best part of your journey till then, and what was the most successful thing
The
you
successful
might
thing was
say?
when he went into IIT.
Okay.
That was the most
The
successful thing.
smoking
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
No, 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 not the smoking guy. The smoking guy, he was the most challenging one.
Okay.
But I was very happy that he
Hmm.
could come out of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I could save one student.
Yeah.
So that was very challenging.
Hmm.
But this boy who used to study a lot and who cracked IIT,
Hmm.
that fellow, that was the most successful one, that he could go into IIT.
Yeah. It's a very huge thing to get into
Yes.
IIT. So normal people like us don't even consider studying for IIT,
Yeah. And
and
he could do
people,
that.
yeah. So it's definitely a commendable
Yeah.
job that you have done.
But he was very hardworking. Very rarely you find such hardworking children.
Yeah, yeah. So hard work is inevitable, basically. No matter
Yeah.
if you are learning disabled or you're
Or
not. Hard work
anything.
is, yeah,
All the time you have to have hard work. Otherwise,
yeah,
it's of no use.
definitely, definitely. So when it comes to the movie Taare Zameen Par, I saw that you have mentioned it a couple of times. What impact do you think that this movie created? When creating awareness about such students and such things when it comes to learning disability. Like when I was a kid and I saw Taare Zameen Par, I got emotional. In fact, कुछ दिन पहले तारे ज़मीन पर टीवी पे लगा था. I still got emotional when I saw that last scene
Yeah.
on that song तू धूप है छन से निकल. So
Huh.
it was a very emotional scene.
Hmm.
What it did for me in my life was it told me that it doesn't matter if you're disabled or not. What matters is how you find what you love and then you work hard upon it.
Yeah.
So what do you think that this movie, did this movie create an impact when it came to the society? Like, did it just impact the people with, who are parents of these learning disabled children, or did it create an overall impact of telling people, like, let your kids do what they love instead of bombarding them
Yeah.
some typical careers?
That happened, but mainly for the parents of LD children.
Hmm.
Mainly for the parents of those children who were not scoring marks.
Yeah.
The parents realized that there's something like LD
Hmm.
and that we should get them checked.
Okay.
And getting them checked is not wrong. that doesn't mean he's mad.
Hmm.
That is what they realize seeing the movie.
It's not a
And you
shameful
should
thing
have
to do.
seen the rush at Sion Hospital at that time. There used to be long queues. Initially, before that, they used to get the certificate in 2 months.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
Then they started 6 months. Now, with all the rush, they've started 9 months, even though there are three LD centers now.
Yeah.
But after this movie, it happened that people realized they should get their child checked. It is not that he's doing something wrong,
Yeah, and it's not
or
shameful to get
yeah,
it
and
checked,
he's
right?
born with it. So you
Exactly.
can't help it.
And it's not your fault either.
Yes. So just accept it. And one thing they can do, see, Bill Gates is dyslexic.
Yeah.
So they can do something in life. Now it's not necessary
It's
that they're
not the
not
end
going
of the
to.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. And frankly speaking, once you finish your education, if you're a graduate also or whatever, after that, tell me how many times do you write?
Yeah, not really.
When was the last time that you've written? You're typing on a
Yeah,
computer.
always.
So, or even at the most, doctors are the ones who write a prescription.
Yeah.
So prescriptions mean they write a few words
वो
and
भी
they
समझ
sign.
में नहीं आता
हाँ, वो
है.
समझ में नहीं आता है. So that is all. Otherwise, how many engineers are writing?
Yeah.
How many MBAs are writing? Nobody.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that writing part goes off, and then they do well in life because they don't have to write.
So don't discourage them when all they need is encouragement, right?
Yes,
Which is the
yes.
school era and the college era. If
Yeah.
you discourage them at that point, they'll always feel like they are going to be failures in the long run.
Yes.
That's what you mean, right? So that's what Taare Zameen Par did in a very
Did.
great way. Like
Yes.
encourage the parents more
That
than the
was
kids.
really a wonderful movie, and it did a lot.
Yeah, it definitely helped. It definitely helped the whole society, and it's still an evergreen movie, right?
Yes.
Because anytime it's on TV, I'm just sitting on my couch and watching the movie. Yeah, till it gets over.
No, it's really a very good movie.
So when it comes to now, if I tell you like give one message to all of the parents on our show today, can you what is the one message that you would give to all of these parents whose students might have learning disability, and these guys maybe don't want to accept the fact, or like you said, they might be shameful about it? So what is the one message that you would like to
See,
give these
first
people?
thing is don't force them. Try to understand their problem. Try to be patient with them. And one thing that you should always do is tell him that he or she is the best.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether he gets marks or not, he is the best child.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that the parents, I always tell them. Always say he is the best. There's nobody better than him. He is the ultimate. And then he'll do it. He'll try to show you that he's the best. But if you try telling him, no, your brother. Now, see, one child might be LD, his brother is not LD. Then what do?
Yeah.
You can't tell him that your brother, see, he's so intelligent, he's doing this, you're not doing this.
Then he'll
He'll
always
never do
feel
it.
कि मतलब मेरे में
Yeah.
कुछ कमी है.
And he'll never do it.
Yeah.
He'll be aggressive. He'll never do anything.
rebel
He'll
about
oppose it. He'll always be a rebel.
Yeah.
So never do that. First thing is try to understand that
Yeah.
child has a problem, and still he's trying to come out of it.
Yeah.
So help him.
Yeah, and this is always a quote that I have fallen in love with, that the best thing that parents can give to their kids is confidence.
Yeah.
So it also comes to when come to these LD people and even the normal students. The best thing
Yes.
that you as parents can give your children is confidence, nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So-
Even with my children, one thing I had told them. Now, see, you must be remembering your school days. Whenever you give an exam and come home, your mother used to ask you, how was it today? You always said, excellent.
अच्छा था paper,
हाँ,
अच्छा था.
बहुत अच्छा था. Not just अच्छा, it was like the ultimate paper.
Yeah.
And when the marks come and you get less marks, you say, इस बार correction बेकार था.
Ah.
She corrected it so strictly. All children do that. Okay?
Yeah.
So I had told my children, because the mothers check the paper, not of what you have written, but even the question paper when you come home. There are parents who check that and ask him, what did you write here? Arey, you should have written this. This was. Now, till the marks come, the child has the full tension that what will she say that I wrote the wrong answer? Because at times he says, हाँ मैंने वही लिखा. He has not written it.
Yeah.
But he tries to tell her that, okay, मैंने यही लिखा है. So that is one thing you should never do. I had told them right from the time they were in primary, once the exam is over, in your class there will be a dustbin, throw the paper there and come. So they used to happily, even 10th standard, they used to happily throw the paper and come.
Yeah.
They never brought the paper home. I never looked at it.
Yeah.
Then on the open day, the teachers call you and they have a lot of complaints. Okay. I used to listen to the teachers, fine. Any complaints? They used to say, हाँ इसमें कम मिला है, इसमें ज़्यादा है, in this he has done well, in this he is not done well. Okay. So once I asked one of the teachers, do you remember when you were small, did you do well in all the subjects?
Oh,
So she said, she just smiled. I said, then why do you want your child to be ideal?
exactly.
You were not ideal. So forget it.
This
So
is a
what I
great
used to do,
perspective. Yeah.
the papers, when they give you the papers, those papers also in the same dustbin, I used to throw them and come home. Just check the total and come home. So they were also relaxed. On the way, we used to have an ice cream or we used to have some snacks, whether they've got good marks or not.
Yeah.
That is what I think brought up my children very well in life.
Yeah.
And they have never had the pressure of studying. Now, whether it is an LD child or whether it is a normal child,
It
this
always
is what you
helps.
should do.
Yeah, and it always helps.
Always.
Because after listening to your stories, it tells me that what matters as a kid is not how many marks you get, but how happily you lead your life.
Yeah.
And that's what helps. Like you said, you used to get an ice cream on the way and throw the papers there itself.
Yeah.
So definitely help the child in boosting their self-confidence.
So, and next time they do better.
Yeah.
But if you scold them and then you tell them this is wrong, this you shouldn't have done this, you should have written this, written that, see how that girl got marks and that boy got marks and you didn't. Next time they won't bother. They'll say as it is, iska kit kit to chalo hi rahega. So
Yeah,
why
because
do it?
Students get wired to it.
Yeah.
कि नहीं मैं कुछ भी करूँ मेरे मम्मी पापा चिल्लाने ही वाले, so I might as well
get less marks.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Because even see, from 62 I go to 70, they'll say why didn't you get 80?
Yeah.
So there were parents who used to come to me, Arey, he got only 70, he should
जितना
have got
करो कम
80,
है.
come hai.
हाँ.
So 80 instead he'll get 90. One, like not these LD students, when I was teaching in coaching classes, there was one mother who came to meet me once and she told me, my son, he had got 90 in class. And she said for the terminal exam, she said he got 90%, but he's not first in all the 4 divisions. He should have come first. The boy who came first is 92. So he should have got 93, na? I said, oh my God, that is just too much. He's first in his class. But
You're
that
not
is
happy about it.
important.
Yeah, you're not happy about it.
No.
You just want to expect more and more.
So they go on expecting. There's no end to it. So that is one thing you should not do. Okay, 70, be happy, na? And do you think that all the people at the top now were very intelligent when they was in school? It's not that.
Definitely
Basically, the world is ruled by mediocres,
Yeah.
not the toppers.
Yeah.
So you never know. The person who's a mediocre might
Definitely.
just rise.
Like we always take this example, right? Like Bill Gates was a dropout.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg was a dropout.
Yeah.
All of the great examples that we have were all dropouts, right?
Yeah.
Even Dhirubhai Ambani, he was he left his hometown and started from scratch. So he was never a great student.
No.
So don't give examples of these Albert Einstein kind of people to average students who might excel at something else.
Yeah.
And like you said, just keep on encouraging them until they find what they love and excel at it, right?
Yeah.
So great! It was great having a conversation over you. We got to know a lot of insights about how this whole world works, not just limited to the LD people, but also what every student goes through and how the parents should deal with it. So it was great having a conversation with you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely do a second episode very soon where we'll dive deep into more of your experiences and get to know a lot about this.
That is when we can discuss all my students, like
the
special ones I can tell you about,
Yeah.
like how they came out of it. So we can have a second episode and discuss all those things.
Definitely.
I would love to be back on your channel.
Definitely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Manjari teacher, please come and meet the principal. बाकी पेरेंट्स 10 काय नाही, मीच. मी एकदा गेले, म्हटलं काय झालं, आणि ह्याने ना 2-3 वेळा या मुलांनी काय केलं ना, स्कूलची वॉल आणि बापट हॉस्पिटलची वॉल कॉमन आहे, त्या इथून तिथे उडी मारली. तिथून एक हार्ट अटॅक वाला पेशंट येत होता. तो घाबरला ना, 10 मुलांची उड्या मारताय. तर मला फोन, मी तिथे ट्युटोरियल मध्ये लेक्चर घेते, प्लीज कम अर्जंटली. मला वाटलं काय झालंय, मी लेक्चर कॅन्सल करून तिथे गेले.
हा.
तर म्हणे त्यांनी हे केलं, त्यांनी ते केलं. अरे बाबा, मग मी एकदा काय सांगितलं माहिती आहे, त्यांनी आज मॅथ्सच्या ह्याच्यात हे केलं, नेक्स्ट टाइम गेलं त्यांनी बायोलॉजीमध्ये असं केलं. अरे बापरे, शेवटी मी कंटाळून एक दिवस सांगितलं, मी त्यांना ओळखायचे ना, मी प्रिन्सिपलला सांगितलं, तुम्ही मॅथ्स सायन्स सगळ्या 6 प्रोफेसर्सनी एक दिवस मला भेटायला या, मी येते तिथे, तुम्ही सांगा टाईम. सगळ्यांना बसवलं समोर. म्हटलं तुम्ही मला दरवेळी बोलवता, ॲग्रीड.
आज मी बोलवलं.
हां, आज मी तुम्हाला विचारते, तुम्ही आयडियल स्टुडंट्स होता? तुम्ही कॉलेज कधी बंक नाही केलं? तुम्ही सगळी लेक्चर्स अटेंड केली, सगळी जर्नल्स कंप्लीट केली, सगळ्या बुक्स कंप्लीट केल्या, एकदम सुंदर मार्क्स मिळवले, हां, सगळे गप्प. म्हटलं उत्तर द्या. नाही ना, मी नव्हते. म्हटलं मी भरपूर बंक केलं. आणि मी माझ्या मुलांनाही सांगते, बंक करा, मूवी बघा, काय करा. अरे तेजस 11th मध्ये होता ना, पहिला 1 महिना तो फुल कॉलेज त्यांनी अटेंड केलं. म्हटलं अरे तुम्ही बंक बिंक करत नाही, मूवीला जात नाही. म्हटलं जा ना. त्याचे मित्र अजून सगळे सांगतात, काकू तुमच्यामुळे आम्ही असे आहोत. म्हटलं सगळ्यांना मी आई वाटते. म्हटलं अरे मस्त बंक करा ना, अरे काहीतरी करा. ते लाईफ म्हणजे काय नुसतं अभ्यासाच्या घोड्याला लावतात तसं आहे का? मग मी त्यांना सांगितलं, आतापासून लक्षात ठेवा, माझ्या मुलांनी बंक केलं, करून दे. काही केलं, माझा मुलगा वर जाणार मला माहिती आहे. तो खूप चांगलं करणार आहे लाईफमध्ये. तर तुम्ही परत मला बोलवायचं नाही. तुम्हाला हवं तर त्याला सस्पेंड केलं तरी चालेल, पण मी येणार नाही.
मी ठेवून येईन घरी 14 दिवस, मला
आणि मी त्याला येणार नाही. आणि आता मी त्यांना मुद्दाम पाठवते. आता यशची एक केस लँडमार्क केस झाली ना, आता तो हायकोर्टच्या कमिटीवर पण आहे, त्याचं जर्नलमध्ये नाव आलं. लँडमार्क केस म्हणजे ह्या एजला कोणाची होत नाही. आता त्याला कुठे कुठे जज म्हणून बोल, मी सगळं त्यांना पाठवते. त्यावेळेचं आठवतं, मला बोलवत राहत होता.
मी अजूनही टच मध्ये आहे.
हो, म्हणलं आता बघा, आता तोच मुलगा कुठे पोचलाय. तो म्हटलं सकाळी 8 पासून 10 पर्यंत कोर्टाची कामं करतो, इतक्या केसेस आहेत त्याच्याकडे.
पण आता हा जो तुमचा पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह आहे ना, विच आय कम्प्लिटली रिस्पेक्ट. सो हा आधी ऍज अ टीचर म्हणून आला की हा आधी पॅरेंट म्हणून आला?
आधी पॅरेंट म्हणून आला
अँड देन यू टर्न इन टू अ टीचर. सो म्हणजे ते ना तुमच्या मुलांना किंवा ज्या मुलांना तुम्ही शिकवलं त्यांच्यावर ते प्रेशर कधीच तुम्ही येऊ नाही दिलं?
नाही.
सो बेसिकली यू आर द काइंड ऑफ टीचर, यू आर द काइंड ऑफ पॅरेंट हू एव्हरी पॅरेंट hates and every kid loves.
तोच माझा प्रॉब्लेम होता. आणि मुलं म्हणून इतकी क्लोज आहेत ना, की ते ट्युटोरियल मध्ये असे का सगळे अजून म्हणजे किती ग्रुप्स आहेत. आम्ही नेहमी चॅटिंग करतो. अजून त्यांना काही लाईफ मध्ये प्रॉब्लेम आला की मला विचारतात, असं करू का, तसं करू का. मध्ये तो पेरेंट्सची लिमिट केली माहितीये. एक बाई मला सांगते, हा तुमचं सगळं ऐकतो आणि आज आम्हाला लग्नाला जायचं आहे, यायला तयार नाही, जरा सांगा ना. अरे म्हणलं काय, मला काही कामधाम नाही का? म्हटलं मी त्याला सांगायचं आता फोन करून की तुझा. म्हटलं हाऊ स्टुपिड. म्हटलं ते तुमचं, आज मी सांगते पण परत मला सांगू नका.
नाही पण आणि ते असतंच ना, म्हणजे द मोर यू रिस्ट्रिक्ट युअर चिल्ड्रन, ते तसंही ते काम करणार आहेत. मग तुम्हाला ते काम चुकीचं वाटायला लागतं. पण तुम्ही जर तीच गोष्ट करायला अलाव केली त्यांना,
आणि तुम्ही स्वतःला त्या जागेवर ठेवा आणि विचार करा की तुम्ही स्टुडंट होता तेव्हा काय केलं. मी त्यांना सांगते सरळ, म्हटलं मी भरपूर बंक केलं, पण म्हटलं लाईफ पण एन्जॉय केलं. आणि मी, माझं माहेर साऊथ मुंबई आहे. म्हटलं साऊथ मुंबईचं लाईफच डिफरंट आहे. आम्ही म्हटलं मस्त मरीन ड्राईव्हला फिरा, ते सगळं केलंय. सगळे ते गोष्टी केल्यात. आणि त्याच्यानंतर सुद्धा म्हटलं आय डिड व्हेरी वेल इन लाईफ. म्हटलं मी MSc ला टॉपर होती युनिव्हर्सिटीची, फर्स्ट इयर सेकंड इयर दोन्ही टॉपर होती. मग तुम्हाला काय आणखीन काय पाहिजे, त्याच्या पलीकडे मला काय मिळणार होतं.
नाही, आणि तेच म्हणजे आपण जेवढं स्वतःला रिस्ट्रिक्ट करू तेवढं आपल्याला असं वाटतं की आपण काही चांगली, जर अशी गोष्ट करतो ज्याने स्वतःला आनंद मिळतोय, मग ती गोष्ट चुकीची वाटायला लागते. सो यू माइट एज वेल अलाव देम टू डू दॅट. मग ते करतील, त्यांचं मन भरेल, आणि मग जेव्हा अभ्यासाची वेळ असेल तेव्हा करतील.
सगळं करतात रे मुलं, त्यांना भरपूर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी असते, सगळं असतं. त्याच्या डोक्यावरच बसून राहिलं तर काय करणार.
मग त्यांना असं वाटतं जाऊ दे, मी काय करू न करू, आई बाबा बोलणारच आहे, मी कशाला करू. आणि
एस्पेशली आईची जास्ती असते, कारण वडील तरी ऑफिसमध्ये असतात. मग आई वडिलांना सांगणार, मग वडील त्याला ओरडणार, असे त्या कटकटी असतात फार.
माझं पण तसंच होतं ना. आता आमचं पण बाबा 4-5 वर्ष बदली झाली होती रत्नागिरीला. तर तेव्हा असायचं काय, मी 6वीत होतो आणि हा आय गेस कॉलेजमध्ये होता. तर मी अभ्यास करायचो नाही, आणि 6वीत अशी शाळेत न्यूज पसरली की मी शिव्या देतो. तर कुठल्या तरी मुलाने कंप्लेंट केली, तर क्लास टीचरने मग आईला बोलवलं. आणि बाबा कसं महिन्यातनं 1-2दा वगैरे यायचे, आणि अचानक आले तर मी एक्सायटेड एकदम, अरे बाबा आले. तुम्ही माझ्याकडे बघितलं पण नाही, हसून बोलतात काय रे तू शिवाय द्यायला लागला का शाळेत. म्हणलं तुम्हाला कोणी सांगितलं. आणि मी इनोसंट, मलाही कळणार की आईने त्यासाठी बोलवून घेतलंय. आता ते 3 दिवस राहिले, पण 3 दिवस प्रेमाने बोललेच नाहीत. तू शिव्या काय देतोय काय देतोय.
आणि ना ह्या गोष्टी कायम लक्षात राहतात हा. की त्यावेळी मी काहीच केलं नव्हतं तरी ते वागले असते.
आणि जरी चला मान्य केलं की मी 6वी ते शिव्या नाही दिल्या पाहिजे, अग्रीड, पण आता माझी संगत तशी, आणि आता मी कुठे एवढा सभ्य आहे, आणि आता मी काय बोलतो काय नाही ते बाबांना पण माहिती. तेव्हा ते मग तो मोमेंट वाया घालून काय झालं.